Welcome back to the Facit Homes channel and welcome back to our Facit Build series. In this episode, we're going to be talking to you about one of our key pioneering innovations, which is our MicroFactory and how we approach on-site manufacturing as opposed to most prefab or modular builders where they build in a factory. We bring our factory to the site in a MicroFactory. So we're going to be back on site here with Bruce and talking you through our MicroFactory. All right, so we're back on site once again with Bruce Bell, our CEO and founder, and we're going to talk about one of our most pioneering things, which is the MicroFactory. And what is the MicroFactory and why do we build it for the MicroFactory? Maybe start off, why do we do this? Why do we do this on-site manufacturing of a MicroFactory versus having a factory in London or somewhere that we do this from?
So the challenge with off-site manufacturing is all the logistics of it. So you've got to make your stuff in the right order, you've got to put it in storage, then you've got to load it in the right sequence, then you've got the cost of shipping, you've got to make sure it arrives on time. The principal idea of this is to act in a very traditional way. The normal way you build houses that we've done for hundreds of years is you turn up on site with some material, with some people who want to build it, and you crack on, you build it. Yeah. So it's almost the question is why wouldn't you? You know, so we're trying to kind of inhabit the usual space that construction does, but using digital technology. So with this setup, it allows us to turn up when we're ready. So we turn up when the foundations are poured, the machine is set down, and we just start manufacturing there and then. So we can go from the machine into the building very simply. Literally goes from there, assembly, into the building, and then we're ready, and we don't have all of that additional layers of handling and loading and unloading and quality management. So it's a much simpler process.
Yeah, and also we don't have to find a factory. We can go ship anywhere in the UK, which is hence why we can do products all around the country.
Yeah.
But we have done it in a factory for a short period, right?
Yeah, so we actually had a few years doing it in the factory after having done it on site. And we just spent all of our time going, oh, where's that component? Oh, it's back in the factory. Oh, can you get it sent out? And then managing huge loads as well. Like you think about, if you're going to manage production in a factory, you've really got to make use of that transport. So you end up with a whole bunch of components and your site is suddenly flooded with stuff. So this actually takes up about the same footprint as one of the bigger loads that we were getting on our sites.
Yeah.
And so it's a kind of like space neutral position. But primarily the reason that we're doing this is really cost. You know, it's much, much cheaper to be on site, doing it in this fashion. The cost of the actual technology is very low, the CapEx cost of it. And so we just save money, simple as that. We do it quicker, we do it the same quality you do in a factory, less expense in less time.
And if we're not using it, we can just pack it up and just put it in the parking lot.
Exactly. So the economics of it are very different because it's not burning a hole in a pocket. We don't have to use this every single day of the year, all day long, whereas your factory space, you really do. So when we're not using this, we close the doors, we put it in a car park, I think about £100 a month in rent.
Yeah.
Easy.
So maybe just unpack the MicroFactory itself. What's inside it? What's going on? What's in the machine?
So yeah, there's a few elements to it. So we have, first of all, we have a temporary workspace, which in this case is scaffold. We have materials in, so we've got all of our plywood, which comes in bulk. So we'll get about 800 to 1,000 sheets per delivery in this space here, keeping it nice and dry. That's what the scaffold is partly for. And then in the middle, we've got a 20-foot shipping container, which houses all of our manufacturing technology. And then at the end, we have the assembly area. So essentially we go materials in, materials around to the machining, and then assembly, and then from there it goes into the building. Yeah.
Talk to us about the actual plywood we use. Where do we get it from? Is it sustainable? All that kind of stuff.
So yeah, so we use 18mm engineered spruce plywood. It's super strong, super sustainable, grown in Finland, where it grows to a higher strength grade than you can use in the UK. So it's structural, Euro-coded, and yeah, it's a beautiful product to work with. It cuts easily, it dries out well if it gets wet. It's just a really, really good product to work with. We'll get deliveries of 50 sheets per pack. So here, I think today we've got 8 packs. So we've got 400 sheets on site. It's made with a bio-based glue, so it's formaldehyde-free. It's a fantastic product, and we've been working with UPM, the manufacturer, for over 14 years.
So yeah, it's probably one of the most sustainable plywood you can find. Even the glue is a bio-based bond.
Yeah, and the other advantage of it is, against something like maybe an OSB, orientated strand board, is because it's got bio-based glue and it's 98% wood, it's A-grade wood waste. So any of the waste that we get, we're able to recycle it. It can be made into pellets, paper pulp, whatever you like, because it's A-grade. This is a sheet of plywood. This is the material we use. Really good quality. You know, the consistency of the product means that we can guarantee it's going to work. It's structurally tested. And yeah, it's basically, for anybody who doesn't know, plywood is essentially one of the most efficient ways of using a timber log. What you do is, rather than send it through a saw, which creates a lot of dust and wood chip, it goes through just a blade. They literally peel the log into the plies, and then they bond the plies together, which means even in the production process, there's zero waste, as compared to a sawn timber where there's a lot of offcuts.
And it also looks great and smells great. So if you come to a Facit house whilst it's under construction, it has an incredible smell as well.
It does, it smells beautiful. It smells like a pine forest.
Next part of the MicroFactory, let's talk about the heart of it, the container, the MPF. What is it? Clearly, what's inside it?
Right, so here we've got our CNC machine in our box, in our MicroFactory. So at the moment it's going through a cutting cycle. It's actually cutting the small nail marks on our components for fixings. So it's a little bit quiet. Hopefully we'll get in there before it makes a lot of noise. But essentially the material goes straight on the machine. Pat presses go. It does its cycle. It cuts all the details that we want. And then we pull the parts off the bed and then we load it and we keep going. And then whilst it's cutting, we're assembling the parts. So, you know, at the moment, Pat is doing pretty much everything here. He's doing about 90% of the work on his own, and then occasional help from the rest of the team coming in when he needs a bit of backup. So it's an incredibly productive setup. But essentially the CNC machine, it's a CNC router, it's a spinning cutter. Yeah, so what you can see here, simple knot together with a mallet. Not too much effort, but tight. You know, the accuracy and the tolerances have been engineered over years and years and years to get to the right level.
I mean, that's literally hit the floor. He's assembled it, maybe 3 minutes?
Yeah, if that, right?
Right,
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And then he's going to go back and he's going to continue on the more complicated piece. So he's balancing out between the simple stuff that's coming straight off the machine and the bigger, more complicated stuff, because he's got components in the corner. So, you know, there's a real science to understanding that push and pull of the production.
Maybe talk about the relationship between the machine and then also back in the office where the information is coming from, essentially, right?
Yeah, so we've got a live cut list. So all of the G-code comes from the studio. There's a shared list that the studio can see and Pat can see on the monitor in the corner. And he just loads up, this is the next file, presses go, cuts it, and then there's communication from the studio and from the site as well. So we know exactly what's going on. And they're literally just working through the list of files that we're producing in the studio automatically using our nesting system. And we'll just work through in sequence. So typically, maybe a smaller component like these might be just one sheet, whereas the larger ones, more sheets. So, you know, we might have, for the biggest components, maybe 4 sheets per component for a very big component. Smallest one's 1 sheet. So it depends on what's going through and what the size of the component requirements are.
And so then the parts are machines. And then they've come off and then they're assembled into components, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the critical thing is the changeover time. So hence why Pat just sweeps it down onto the floor. And then he's putting another board on and then pressing go. So very quick changeover time, and then we'll spend some time picking up the pieces, sweeping down. For the more automated machine that we have, you know, that process is automated. We don't have to go through that sweep down. But yeah, so he gets the parts down, presses go again, and then we're on the cycle. Whilst it's cutting, we're sorting out the parts into components.
What else is in the container, especially in this corner here?
So in the container, we've got our fanless PC, which means it doesn't get dust on it. We've got all of our power fuse boards. We've got our tool cabinet. We've got all of our components, nails are in here, everything we need essentially. In the other corner, we've got our dust extraction, our vacuum pump, fully self-contained as a single unit essentially. And then over here, you can see there's some assembly drawings.
Yeah.
So the assembly drawings define each component type as how they're going to go together.
Yeah.
For someone like Pat, he doesn't need them anymore because he's done them so many times. For people who are new, they'll work through the assembly drawings for the component types. Once you know them, then you know how to do it.
It's like an IKEA building set. You build one.
Exactly. The second time you do it, you don't really need the kit.
But I think in the future we'll experiment a bit more, maybe with other technology, like can we use augmented reality or virtual reality to...
Definitely as a training tool, that'd be amazing.
As a training tool, yeah. I can't see people wearing a headset all the time, but yeah, as a training tool, maybe.
Yeah.
So we've gone from plywood, we've had a CNC machine into parts, and now we have the actual component itself, right?
Yeah, so this particular component is a corner component. It's got a unique number on it, 33-008, and it's all assembled, ready to go. So Pat and one of the guys will bring it into the building, and then in the next couple of days, it'll be fixed in its final position. So super simple, really easy, assemble, building.
And at the moment, the component's completely hollow, and then once it's inside, it gets filled with insulation.
Yeah, correct. Built hollow, nice and lightweight. We'll get the whole building erected and weather tight, and then we'll put the insulation in.
And in the next episode, we'll talk to them about how putting the component into the chassis, into the building behind us, and we'll explain a bit more about the Facit chassis. Thanks for joining once again on our Facit Homes channel. As you've seen, we've gone through the MicroFactory. In the next episode, we're going to be talking to you about the actual Facit chassis and the project in the background and how we actually assemble the components into the Facit chassis and the benefits of the Facit chassis. If you are interested in building a Facit Homes, please get in contact via the description below or simply contact us at info@facit-homes.com. Thank you for joining once again. We'll see you in the next episode.